Yeah, nice fish. Very nice fish. Oh, that is a nice roach. That is a really nice roach. Well, who would have thought it? Another £1 plus roach in the same session. Earlier last week we had some of the deepest snowfall I can actually remember. Overnight between 4 and 6 inches fell and absolutely covered everything. Temperatures also plummeted down to -6, and whilst this was all really exciting, it did however make fishing quite a challenge. I decided I would still head out on a number of sessions despite the cold and the snow to see if I could just even catch one fish. First session I decided to take the seat box so I'd be out of the flooded conditions. I wanted to fish a stick float and trot maggots through, however with the wind and the flooding this was just very difficult, so I opted for the feeder rod instead. I got a bit of feed in and fished cheese paste and maggots on the hook. Unfortunately I didn't seem to get any interest on this session, and after a couple of hours sitting in the cold it soon got the better of me and I decided to pack up and head off home. After a few days and once I'd thawed out and warmed up again, I decided to have another go. I headed to a different section of the River Wensum and this time tried to target pike. Obviously pike will feed in very cold conditions, so I thought they might be a better bet than the chub and the roach. I tried trotting a dead bait in some slacks and some fast areas, and after a couple of hours again ended up with absolutely nothing. My second blank in a row, unfortunately. While the cold conditions might be putting the fish off, they were however perfect for another type of activity, sledging. Even though we enjoyed the snow immensely, after a week or so it did begin to melt when temperatures started to rise and a sense of normality began to return. I decided to head out on another session to see if the fish were in a feeding mood given the warmer temperatures. I headed down to a spot in the River Wensum where I'd done really well previously, so with high hopes I headed off. Back down on the River Wensum today. As you can see, it's still very much all flooded. I've got a bit of an advantage today that I'm on a seat box, which will hopefully keep me out from the wet and the cold. And I've picked a really nice swim here. There's some lovely overhanging branches and trees just further down, and it's a bit of a slower flow in this area. I've caught chub from here, I've caught chub from just up the river there and just down the river there. So hopefully I'm in the middle of a really good spot right now. I'm going to get some ground bait made up and introduce a little bit of feed, some maggots. I'm going to mash some bread and use that as well. And we're going to kick things off, trotting a stick float through and see if we can get a few early fish. Let's get on with it. Under there. Yeah, nice fish. Very nice fish. Oh, yes, excellent. Well, after half an hour of trickling some feed in, so a few handfuls of ground bait and a little pinch of maggots every 2 to 3 casts, we've already got a really nice chub in the net, and it was a delight on the float as well. I've not fished float for a very long time, so this is brilliant. Really happy with this. This is a great capture. Really nice chub as well. We're going to sort him out, give him a rest, and then we'll have a quick look at him. Well, there we go. An absolutely wonderful chub there. I reckon this guy is probably 4 pounds easy. I'm going to get a weight on him and then we'll get him slipped back. Absolutely great fish after only about 30 minutes of fishing there. So I'm pretty made up. We've still got the rest of the session ahead of us as well to hopefully improve on this one. So I got a quick weight on him and he didn't come out as heavy as I thought he was going to be actually. He was about 3.2 in the end. So obviously a very stocky looking chub, made me think he was heavier. I thought he was going to go about 4. Anyway, I've got a few maggots in and I'm just going to rebait and then cast out again and see if we can improve on that. Well, unfortunately we got snagged and I had to break off to get everything else back, but we're re-tied up and I'm ready to get back out there again. I've had no fish since that nice chub, but you know, there's still time. That was remarkably early in the session to be landing fish, so he was obviously very hungry and already down there. I keep trickling in a tiny bit of ground bait every 10 casts or so, just like less than half a handful really, and I'm just putting a pinch of maggots in every 2 to 3 casts at the moment, just to see if we can draw anything else up. I really want a nice roach, but none of those around at the moment. I'm going to switch from maggots on the hook over to bread and see if that brings anything else. Other than that, the only other thing I can think of is just to move. I'm going to fish this swim for at least 2 hours because obviously we've kept the bait trickling in, but there's a swim a little bit further up that I fished a few days ago and I was fishing feeder, so I put quite a lot of bait through that actually, and there might be some fish still in that area, so I might just whip up the bank. It's only 20 metres or so, and just give that area a go if this doesn't produce anything in the next hour or so. So we got to the second spot and we're all set up. I'm going to fish the float for a little bit again, just while we've still got a bit of dark, what am I talking about? So yeah, we're going to go straight in with the float. I'm just going to get the depth, so find my plummet out my pocket somewhere and throw some maggots in and see what we can pull out to start with. Well, it's the final part of daylight and I've already geared up ready for a little bit of night fishing now. The glow stick is on, torches are out as you can see, and we'll see if the night brings a bite. Hopefully it will, and it makes staying after dark worthwhile. Like a small chub. Brilliant. Get this guy in. Yeah, small chub there. Just a small little chub. Not very big at all, but we're going to get this guy slipped back and see if this guy's older brother or sister is at home. So let's get this guy back. Yes, we're in again. I think that's a roach. If it is, it's... Oh, that is a nice roach. That is a really nice roach. Check out this roach. Wow. I've been after another big roach for a while, so brilliant, absolutely made up to catch this, and the rod tip went straight round. I literally, as soon as I got it back into position, I'm going to get this guy on the scales and see what he goes. Well, absolutely brilliant stuff there. We just had a quick weigh of that roach and he came in at 1.1 pounds there, so that's my second 1 pound plus roach from the River Wensum, which is absolutely brilliant. We're going to get this guy slip back in a second because he's kicking around in the net now, and get this feeder back out there and see if we can get number 3 in a row. Well, I've had quite a few nice fish today and I'm really happy about that, particularly that roach of just over 1 pound there. The otter has just come down through the swim as well and was really not bothered by me in the slightest, so I got a really good view of, I think it's a her, it's quite a small one, so a really good view of her tonight. We're just rebaited and back out on the cheese paste to see if we can catch anything else from this swim. Ooh, I think I've got some twitches already. Right, I'm going to go dark and we'll update you if we get anything else. Well, we're into another one. Looks like a roach as well. In there he goes. Oh no, hold up, that's a bream. Well, we've got a little bit of a new species here to add to our list tonight. A small little bream, a little skimmer there, looking very shiny and silver in the light there. So, but he gave the biggest bite of the night, which was quite a shock for me. Let's get this guy slipped back. This is what's doing the business tonight, cheese paste. So we're just pulling off a little lump from this, not very much at all, only like a pea size amount, and seems to be bringing in all the bites. So we'll get this baited up and back out there, hopefully for another good fish. There we go, hold that round, plenty of hook point showing, so we can make sure we get a really good hook hold. Let's bait this up and get this back out there. Well, who would have thought it? Another 1 pound plus roach in the same session. So we'll just get this guy out. There it is. Absolutely cracking roach there. Brilliant. And who would have thought catching 2 in the same session? Amazing. We're going to get this guy slipped back. You know, he put up a pretty good fight actually. One of the hardest fights of the night, so he definitely deserves a bit of a rest, and then we'll get him back. Well, in again to something. Not a very big one. Looks like a small roach. There we go. Still though, I would be very happy with that in any other session, you know. That's an absolute cracking roach. Colours on it are amazing. But just unfortunately today, we've caught some bigger ones. Well, everything's gone a bit quiet now. I put in the last feeder full of ground bait that I'd mixed up, and I've had not even a little knock or a pull for the last half an hour or so, which was unusual. Up until now, I've always had indications that fish have been present, so maybe they've just drifted off, which means it's probably time for me to also go home. My feet are cold and I'm hungry as well, which seems like a very good place to stop a session. I've been absolutely made up with the stamp of fish that I've been catching. To have 2 1 pound plus roach is brilliant, as well as a couple of nice chub and even a bream. So all in all, an absolute cracking session. On that note, it was time to go home. Despite a couple of blanks earlier in the week in some really tough conditions, I was absolutely over the moon to eventually land 2 really nice roach and a few nice chub as well. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please please hit the thumbs up button and leave some comments down below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, consider doing that so you can stay up to date with videos as I release them. I just want to thank you all for watching, and as always, I hope to see you in the next video.